Hi, Chad Herzog from Arizona Arts Live. Welcome to On the Record, Episode 5. My guest today is Ashley LaRussa. Ashley, how are you doing?
Doing great, Chad. Happy to be here.
Being a theater maker from outside of Southern Arizona, something brought you to Tucson, this driving force that gets us here. And maybe you could spend just a couple minutes talking about why you and how you got to Tucson.
Absolutely. As you said it, my passion is theater. So theater arts brought me to Tucson. I had the beautiful opportunity of being hired by Arizona Theater Company. And so at the time, I was working in the Berkshires in New York, near Massachusetts, working at a theater called Theater Barn, which is just like summer stock, mini hats. We're doing a number of shows, number of shows a week. And so when I got that letter of acceptance saying, yes, we'd love to have you as an assistant to the stage manager at our Lort Theater here in Tucson, Arizona, as well as Phoenix, Arizona, I jumped at the opportunity. I said, wow, I just graduated. I had done an internship in Florida for about 2 years with a theater there called Florida Stage. They're no longer with us, but that was also a beautiful opportunity of working with regional theater professionals. And so during that summer, it was just truly a time in my life where there was a fork in the road. And that was, are you going to continue in the arts? Are you going to continue with theater, especially? Or are you going to go and try to, get a business degree and start to work directly in management in business? And I said, no, my passion is theater and I am moving to the desert. And so cross country from the Berkshires, I stopped in Texas. I unloaded and sold a lot of my personal items that I still had there at home. And then I hopped right back in the car, packed, windows full. I could hardly even see or drive because I had everything that I owned at the time with me. And I moved here. And I moved here again with the passion of theater and with the trust that somehow I'm going to make it here in the desert because my passion will keep me moving forward.
So Ashley, you held many positions at ATC. Can you share a little bit about what your experiences were like?
Absolutely. Firstly, grateful to have the opportunity to have held so many different sort of positions in theater. I started in stage management. And so when I was hired on, I was assistant to the stage manager. And for 5 years, anything that was happening upstage of the red curtain, transitions, actors, quick scene changes, costume changes, I had the beautiful opportunity of orchestrating. I then had this chance of an opening in company management. And with company management, the main focus is being able to be hospitable. So as you have guest artists coming in, you're able to direct them towards which restaurants are best, where they should be staying with housing, any needs as far as groceries or transportation. And I had an opportunity of doing that for 1.5 years as their company manager, which I loved. I have to speak a bit about that department. You're on a 24-hour call. So if there's ever any issues or emergencies, the actors, the technicians, the designers, they contact you and you have to be ready to assist, as it were, medically in bringing them to the hospital if need be, or ear, throat, and nose doctor was something we commonly did with our musicians and our singers. And so again, had a beautiful opportunity in being a company manager for 1.5 years. I then was promoted to management associate, which was a completely new position. The management associate not only served as a board liaison, so I was there at the board meetings, learning governance, learning how you manage a nonprofit theater when it comes to looking at revenue and expenses. Also had the chance of managing the beautiful Temple of Music and Art. And under the supervision of Herb Stratford, huge shout out to Herb Stratford. We really started to focus in on the temple and revitalize the lounge. We brought the box office to the forefront so the patrons knew all the box office employees and staff members by name. And so really started to breathe life again into the temple alongside ATC. And that was my last position there. So again, having the opportunity of working in production and literally sweeping the floors and mopping the floors before and after each show, and then moving into large law offices in Phoenix for board meetings and meeting board members and potential investors and sponsors. So a beautiful experience, well-rounded at Arizona Theater Company.
Nice. And from ATC, you went off on your own and created your own business, Rue Events. What's it been like being an entrepreneur here in Southern Arizona?
Yes. So it was, as we all say, it's frightening. It's absolutely jumping off of the cliff. And you did not place a net, and you do not see the next landing space that you're going to jump onto. But you're falling and jumping around on trust and trust within yourself. And that freedom alone of entrepreneurship, it just doesn't compare to the things that you may have experienced before if you haven't yet. So I encourage everyone, even if you haven't had a chance in entrepreneurship, to do it. Have a side hustle of passion. If you're deep down inside an artist, go ahead and start doing some artistry on the side. So with that in mind, I did start Rue Events. When I ended around 10 years and had a beautiful celebration with Arizona Theater Company, they were so supportive as well. Many of the management members at that time knew I had passions of starting my own company. At the time, I was, battling whether it would be theater primarily or events. And then later now, it's a well-rounded events and diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it was truly just being hopeful and grateful into entrepreneurship. So I had 1 year before starting Rue Events in 2019. In 2018, I was able to work at Downtown Tucson Partnership. And so during this transition of building Rue Events, I was downtown projects manager at Downtown Tucson Partnership. And there I was really able to learn more of Tucson outside of Scott Avenue, as it were, outside of Arizona Theater Company, getting to know all of the other community events that were going on, the merchants, different stakeholders downtown and how they operated with some of their meetings when it came to decision making and what happened to parcels downtown. So it also gave me that education of community. And so I definitely want to give a shout out to Downtown Tucson Partnership, again, for being a building block within the foundation of what my focus was with Rue Events, which was to take all of what I've learned at Arizona Theater Company, to take the contacts and connections and trust from Downtown Tucson Partnership, and to put them into the facilitation of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and making sure all of these community members are able to come together and meet and get to know each other through different experiences. And so Rue Events was born.
Awesome. And what were some of those first events like for Rue Events?
Whew. Our very first event, we did a spotlight on the Dunbar Pavilion. That was our first event. And we had it down on 4th Avenue. And I want to just say, God bless his soul, Brian Peterson. He had Mission Ground Imports there on 4th Avenue. It's a very tiny little coffee shop. And so in that coffee shop, we had about 15 to 20 community members come and listen to the story of the Dunbar and the history of the African-American school here in Tucson. So that was Rue Events' very first event. Rue Events' second event was Black Renaissance, the very first inaugural Black Renaissance with Sean Louis and Hotel McCoy, where every Saturday in May, we spotlighted a different area of Black artistry and Black artists locally. And so that was my second Rue event. And then the third Rue event, I started a series called Now, Night Out With. And I placed these events in Barrio Viejo. And we had an opportunity to explore architecture and talk about Chinese grocers, and talk about the community and what was there before what is here now. And in that reflection, also connecting with families and community members. I had an awesome opportunity of meeting Jerry Lee Ho's family. They happened to be in town the same week we were doing a Now series on Chinese markets. So to have 20 family members come in and listen to Sandy Chan talk about Chinese history in Tucson, it was just magical. I knew, hey, Rue Events, you're on to something. You're doing something and thinking outside of the box when it comes to community interaction.
What was your last in-person event before the pandemic started?
I do remember it. The last in-person event we had was SIGFA's, which is a local woman-owned store and jewelry. I'm actually wearing your earrings right now, Lauren Valenzuela, SIGFA's. We got SIGFA's and IMU 360 together. IMU 360 is a nonprofit here locally that is working with those who may have aged out of the foster system and either looking for direction and hygiene or education or just those skills and living your everyday life. So Desiree Cook at IM 60 and Lauren Valenzuela, we pulled those two women together to have an event in Barrio Viejo celebrating just being beautified and ornamented by earrings. And so we had a lot of women show up and wear all black with their earrings and tell some of their stories, as well as being able to have a hygiene drive. So people were able to bring in full-size products of shampoo and conditioner so that IMU 360 could share that out to the community. That was the last in-person event that Rue Events had a part of. And I'm already kind of choking up because I'm just remembering that feeling of being around people and bringing people together. And I miss it so much. I miss it. I really do.
So last March, when the pandemic, we knew it was going to be a thing, and you had that final event. What were you thinking was going to happen to Rue Events? What were your thoughts on as an entrepreneur, business owner here in town? Well, I think we probably, without taking offense, I could call it a small business owner, right?
Micro.
A micro business owner.
A micro business owner. Very humble in it. No employees, but I do hire independent contractors. Yeah, there was some concerns. I had a number of contracts into the fall. And so when it came about that, unfortunately, a number of these events, not only locally, but nationally, were going to be canceled, I was just in awe, again, because the foundation of Rue Events was getting in the community and having these courageous conversations, interacting and getting to know each other through experiences. And if we're unable to get together safely at that time, I was definitely worried on where Rue Events would go. But what shook me out of that, honestly, was seeing again the national lens, seeing events like South by Southwest be canceled, and seeing even other larger events and film festivals being canceled, and going, okay, Ashley, go inside. Rue Events is at this time, only a year old, and you still have room to grow and shift and shape. And the 2020 word of the year, pivot, you have this opportunity to take this moment and shift. And that's exactly what we did. I did a deep dive into virtual events, did some really, extensive research in the different type of platforms you can use, those price points, how you can stream those platforms, and usually the return that you get with using those type of platforms for virtual events. I also had the beautiful opportunity of starting to do DEI consultation virtually, which was something I started to do early on with Rue Events, but it was all very much so over coffee, small conversations and exchanges, opportunities to go into businesses and have a conversation. But by no means was it on the same level of having 30 members virtually, in front of you, having these serious conversations about race and oppression and how we can shape the future together. And so Rue Events definitely at first was, whoa, what are we going to do? But then immediately I jumped into action and said, anything I can do.
Right, right. And I think what's been so, I'll call it fun in a sense, watching you use that word of the year, the pivot, but really settle too, and create this foundation. So it might have gone from something that was just over coffee to becoming really what I see now as the foundation of what Rue Events is, and that's those courageous conversations. I want to maybe spend just a few minutes talking about and getting your perspective on what it means to have a courageous conversation right now, and what it means for you as a moderator to be able to open that up and get that out of, I'll say, get it out of people.
I like that. Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to. So when we're speaking on courageous conversations, I must absolutely, give a shout out to Glenn E. Singleton, who founded and created Courageous Conversations in 1992. Again, Mr. Singleton was looking at this approach primarily for schools and education, academia, and how people have conversations. But I definitely love taking different approaches and applying them to different industries. And so what Courageous Conversations did for me personally, through my own self-exploration of who am I? How am I internally identifying? And how are others externally identifying me? And am I bold enough and courageous enough in myself and my own race and identities to be able to state those outright and with pride? And with that approach, also the empathetic approach that Mr. Singleton has with Courageous Conversations, I found it as a foundation in the consultations in DEI. Because before we can even shape initiatives, before we can even publicly have marketing or promotions in what we're doing, we must truly look at, firstly, who we are, and then the individuals we're working with. And if we collectively come together in groups, then it's even more important to continue dialogue and conversation around terminology. How does one define diversity over the other? Do we have the same definition of diversity? What does diversity mean to you? Again, we hear diversity, equity, and inclusion as buzzwords commonly, and they were sort of misused when it came to HR early on, and individuals and organizations just putting that information within statements, but not making it actionable. And so now moving into 2020 and 21, we're having these conversations courageously about how we can do this actionably. How can we go within our community, take this information about being more inclusive, about being open to all identities and not oppressing others, and build together, knowing that each of us has their own experience. And that's another underlining part of these conversations, being able to listen and being able to hear someone else's lens and experience. There is where the true exchange of, wow, I had no idea that you had experienced that in your life. Or I totally externally identified you, and now you're letting me know you identify as such. And once we have more of those conversations and getting to know each other, then we can stop assuming. And then we can stop letting there be, as it were, fake news and what's happening and what's not happening, and really starting to exchange in real time what's happening now.
The one thing that I want to make sure we spend some time talking about today is Black Friday, which was another, yet again, way that names were pointing me to Ashley. Maybe we can speak just a little bit about Black Friday, how it came to mind, what it's been like, and I have so many more questions to get through on it.
You got it. Yes. So Black Friday was created in June 2020. A hashtag Black Friday was created in March in 2019. I want to give a huge shout out to KP of KP Madman. The hashtag Black Friday was used on social media every time there was a new Black business or a new service or a product. And so each time we saw that on social media, we put hashtag Black Friday. We also had a growing list of going under food, listed all the restaurants, Under beauty, all of the salons. And so a number of us, all Black business owners, collectively came together, especially with looking at the effects of COVID-19 on Black businesses and seeing the decline economically and going, what can we do here locally to help invest, uplift, and amplify Black businesses? And so we decided to take all of those businesses that were on our social media, hashtag Blacks Friday, and put them into an open directory. The directory was a Google sheet. And so we encourage the community to please add a business if you didn't see one, to let us know if there's a new business that has recently opened that's not currently listed. So we made it an inclusive act and a community activity for everyone to be able to contribute. And then that Google Live Excel sheet, as it were, became our directory for blacksfriday.com. When blacksfriday.com launched in June, we then had a very accessible list of all Black businesses under categories so that you can search and support. And what was also very insightful at that time, especially around June, was hearing directly from the Black business owners themselves, going that, wow, I went from 5 products a month being sold to 30 products a month being sold. So then we started to follow some numbers. Our main goal and number was to find out how many Black-owned businesses were in Arizona. We know as a population here that we're just over 5%, and we know that the number of Black business owners fall between 2 to 2.5%. So we're in search of that 2%. We want to get them listed, and we want to make it an accessible list for the community and the business owners. Another issue that we found that we wanted to solve is that many business owners have to pay a fee for member-based directories. And during this time where business owners are letting go of their website because they can't afford the hosting fee, or they're letting go memberships because they can't keep up with dues, we wanted to be a solution of keeping your presence online. Make sure you're listed with us. You can change and add photos anytime, and it's free. It's accessible. We want to make it open and available for all to use. And then on Juneteenth of 2020, we launched the Blacks Friday app. With the Blacks Friday app, we now made it accessible and statewide, with expanding up to Phoenix, as well as surrounding areas. So we're on the now goal of even expanding, hopefully, to the outskirts around Arizona. We have a couple of businesses that we're learning about that may just be right there on the borders of Arizona, and we want to get those included as well. Again, we're looking for Black-owned businesses, those that are either online or they have a brick and mortar, or they're possibly new entrepreneurs that have just launched their LLC. We want to get them listed and available to the community.
And how many businesses are listed now?
We currently, to date, have 651.
Wow.
I check it daily.
I bet. What's been really great for us as Arizona Arts Live is to partner when you've been looking for partners to do things. And I'll use Black's Friday over right before the holidays as an example, when you had pop-up shops all over, and we were able to partner together and bring our Tucson studio musicians forward and really showcase their work alongside Black's Friday. What does it take to be a partner with Black's Friday? And are you still searching, looking for more?
Absolutely. We are always looking for partnerships. We believe in collaboration and truly being community focused. So you brought up our Black's Friday, Black Friday event, which is our first, coming out in Tucson going, moving forward, all Black Fridays are now Black's Fridays. And so thank you for being a community partner. And again, being able to showcase the beautiful artistry that we have here in Tucson. We were so inspired by your program and what Arizona Arts has been doing to truly go into the community and amplify the beautiful musicians and singers, that we thought if there was a way to have some of that wonderful B-roll you had available and have it streaming live, outdoors for people to come in and view throughout the day, it was just such a beautiful opportunity. So thank you. So when you ask us about partnership, what we look at for partnership is aligning values. And with our mission at Blacks Friday being spotlighting Black-owned businesses, we're looking for those individuals within our community that also hold that value true to them and close to their hearts. And so if you're interested in being a community partner with Blacks Friday, please email info@blacksfriday.com. There's a number of ways that we can partner, especially when it comes to initiatives within our community. We're really looking for opportunities of building our mission far beyond Tucson and Southern Arizona, but really becoming a statewide initiative. And as we grow, we're definitely hoping to partner with the city of Tucson and Pima County, as well as City of Phoenix. And so we're going to stay very hopeful that Blacks Friday becomes the state Black-owned business directory.
Nice. It's such a gift to, so far, such a gift to Pima County and Southern Arizona, and of course those businesses in Phoenix, and needs to be the state Black-owned business directory, because
you heard it here first. We're so excited too, because the app is about to be redeveloped, Chad. That's what's happening this March now. I'm starting to meet with some potential partners in Phoenix, and definitely with the assistance of some local partners here, to see how we can redevelop it to make it even more accessible and expanding, fingers crossed, to Android. Right now, we're just on Apple. And so with that proof of concept out there, with the community knowing what we can do and what we can do together, we're looking at expanding this month.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
We have a meeting this Friday, and I'm hoping to contract next week. So it's still open, and it's still an opportunity of even meeting someone who may have interest in being a part of the development team, or, help us out here. So please do contact info@blacksfriday.com if you're interested. But we're hoping to contract here next week.
Awesome. And one of the things I think that, there's so much, as you can tell, I'm a Blacks Friday fanboy, but one of the things that I loved you sharing is that there's no barrier to entry for Black-owned businesses, that you don't pay a initiation fee, a monthly fee, all of this, which is truly amazing. But it also makes me wonder, how's it working then? Who's paying for this app? Who's keeping the website up? Who's paying for your time and other people's time?
Yes, you got it. No, happy to talk about the Blacks Friday business structure. So firstly, the management, we're all business owners. And so we have a flat organization. There is no hierarchy. On Blacks Friday, I am the project lead. And so with my strengths of logistics and managing, I come in and help move this project and now business forward. We also have members with our website design, which is Akil Hamid. I want to give a huge shout out. He is with Pinnacle Marketing Consulting. So he is our website lead and really helps with all of the questions we may have with next directions, next moves, design, how we can up the SEO so that Blacks Friday has that visibility on Google. And so we have our website lead. And then we have our social media lead, who is Terrell Henry. Huge shout out. Terrell Henry owns two businesses, one being Creative Collabs, which is one of our community partners, and the other being Unleash Your Image Photography. And so what Terrell brings to the team is his expertise of social media, as well as creative ideas and how to get the information out within our community. He also does graphic design. So whenever you see our hashtag Blacks Friday Black t-shirts, Terrell Henry designed those. So I'm just naming a few of our team members. All that to say, all of these team members bring their expertise to the table, and we're all in a flat organization. We then have our community partners. Now, community partners are able to support socially, are able to support financially, but they choose how they would like to support. And those who do choose to support financially also choose to support anonymously. So we get all of our funding and how we're able to keep the website going, how we're able to keep app development an option with anonymous donations. And the reason why this structure and pricing was so important to Black Friday is that we didn't want to turn giving or donating to this cause to be performative. We didn't want it to look as though, oh, look at what we're doing for this group that is helping amplify Black-owned businesses. Instead, we wanted to say, hey, give your dollars if you would like to, and we'll have a communication in what those are being spent and how, but not making it about we're funding this project. And so with that in mind, that's one price structure we have, our anonymous donations. The other price structure we have is with our community partners that are nonprofits. And so some of our nonprofits, thank goodness, had the opportunity of writing Black Friday in as a collaborative partner and supplying a directory and having an opportunity of funding in their budget to help support Black Friday. I can name one of those partners right now, even though we haven't gone public socially yet, and that is the African American Legacy Fund under the Community Foundation of Southern Arizona. I want to give a huge thank you for them coming on this year as community partners and helping us continue with our website as well as with our app. So if I could ask and kind of put it out there, if you're interested again in being a community partner, please contact us directly. And you can help in a number of ways through volunteering, through social outreach, or through anonymous donations.
So Ashley, as we mentioned earlier, we could go on, and time is precious, and you're a busy person, and you're, I'm sure, just on the edge of getting somebody else to have a courageous conversation someplace.
Well, I have an update for you too, Chad.
Oh, please give me that update.
Hot off the press, we have the first issue of the Black Paper. The Black Paper is a paper that is spotlighting local initiatives that are focusing on empowering economically Black entrepreneurs and business owners. We've partnered with a number of authors between Leslie Pintor of Growth Partners Arizona and Danny Nee of Community Investment Corporation, as well as Taniqua Broughton from State of Black Arizona, just to name a few of our authors. And so I'd love to encourage, if you have time, to check out blacksfriday.com and check out the Black Paper. We'd love to hear feedback, especially from entities like Arizona Arts, just to get feedback if it was insightful or not.
I'll head there after we're done, Ashley.
Yes.
Amazing. Ashley, one of the things that we've asked all of our guests, and we continue to push our community on, we're ready for a renaissance. And I wondered if you could maybe share with us what you think Tucsons Renaissance is going to look like.
Tucsons Renaissance. I see culture, I see love, I see empathy, appreciation. I see a celebration of authentic holidays, really getting to the stories and the history of why we celebrate different cultural holidays. I see inclusion, open to LGBTQ movement, as well as any movements within our Black, Latina, Latino, Hispanic communities to come together and really embrace diversity. I see it happening in Tucson, and I see a sister city like San Antonio, Texas, that is somewhere that we can truly look to as far as embracing all of our culture within the community. I see Tucson shining. I'm just gonna stay hopeful. I just see it shining and not being pulled down by any negativity, just truly being a star within the state.
Ashley Russa, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the record and spend a morning with you today. Thank you so much for your time, for everything you are doing for us here in Southern Arizona, for your leadership your courageous conversations and for being you. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Chad.